Your life is waiting for you to take it seriously. Right now, you may feel stuck, frustrated, or like you've been running in place for far too long. There is a truth that most people never fully understand. The moment you change the standards you live by, changes. Not tomorrow, not next week, but starting today, your decisions, your habits, your mindset, they all begin to shift. This is not about wishing for a better life. This is about demanding more from yourself and refusing to settle for less. It is about taking control, not over others, but over the person you are becoming. Every day you spend with the same thinking, the same habits, the same environment, you reinforce the life you are living. But the life you dream of, that requires something different. That requires higher standards, stronger choices, and relentless commitment. The path to change is not complicated, but it is not easy either. It asks for courage, patience, and the willingness to do what others will not. When you raise your standards, you raise your expectations. You stop accepting excuses, you stop tolerating mediocrity, and you stop letting circumstances define your potential. You start living intentionally. You start seeing opportunities. You start demanding better outcomes from yourself because you finally realize that nobody else can do it for you. This is not just motivation. This is a call to action. This is a moment to recognize that every choice you make reflects the standard you have set for yourself. The person you are today is the product of yesterday's choices. The person you will become tomorrow depends on the standards you decide to live by right now. Change your standards and your life will follow. The journey begins the moment you decide you are done settling. Number one, the power of standards. The moment a person decides to set higher standards, something inside becomes steady and clear. There is a different way the world feels when someone knows what they will accept and what they will no longer allow. It shows in the way they stand, in the way they breathe, in the way they speak about their plans. That shift does not need noise or drama. It shows up quietly, but it changes everything. Standards are the rules you build for your daily actions. They are the decisions that guide how you use your time, how you speak to yourself, how you treat others, and how you respond when life brings pressure. A person's entire direction can move in a stronger way the moment these rules rise. Nothing in life moves forward until the expectations you set for yourself rise above the excuses that used to stop you. When you raise those expectations, you begin to see what you ignored for years. You begin to notice habits that once felt normal but no longer fit the life you want. You become aware of the moments when you settle for less effort than you know you can give. You start to pay attention to how you spend each hour and how those hours shape your results. There is a very real feeling that flows through you when you decide you are done living under old limits. It's a warm sense of pressure in your chest, the kind that tells you you're finally serious. Many people spend years hoping life will change while keeping the same standard they had as teenagers. Hope cannot replace action. Hope cannot replace responsibility. Hope cannot rewrite your daily behavior. Only standards can do that because standards tell you what actions you allow. Once you lift them, you create a clear line. You stop accepting weak effort from yourself, accepting disrespect from others. You stop wasting time on distractions that drain your energy without giving anything of value in return. You stop allowing comfort to run your decisions. You stop giving fear the space it once had. A person who improves their standards notices small things. They pay attention to how they wake up each morning. They notice if they drag their feet or rise with purpose. They notice whether they eat food that supports their body or food that dulls their energy. They notice whether they speak with honesty or whether they hide behind excuses. Those details shape your life more than dramatic events. Most lives do not fall apart because of a single disaster. They fall apart because of a slow pattern of low standards accepted over and over again. The good news is that a person can reverse that pattern by making a single serious decision. That one decision can reshape every future decision. It brings a new kind of honesty to the surface. You begin to admit what you avoided. You become aware of the years you wasted. You can feel a mix of regret and hope, but instead of running from it, you use it. That emotional pressure becomes fuel. It becomes a reminder that you have more inside you than you have shown. Many people misunderstand standards. They think standards are about being perfect. They think they must have every detail under control. But high standards are not about perfection. High standards are about responsibility. They are about deciding that you will no longer live below your potential. They are about giving your best, even if that best feels small in the beginning. The important part is that your best grows as your standards grow. What used to feel difficult becomes normal. What used to require effort becomes... When someone decides to raise their standards, the world around them begins to respond. People treat you differently when you treat yourself with seriousness. Opportunities open because you take action with confidence instead of hesitation. You no longer move through life waiting for permission. You give yourself the authority. You can feel the pressure of high standards in your muscles. You can feel it when you walk into a room with a straight spine and steady breath. You can feel it when you speak with clarity instead of confusion. You can feel it when your evenings are filled with productive actions instead of empty habits. High standards create strength in your emotions as well. You become calmer because you no longer argue with yourself. You no longer carry guilt from broken promises you made to yourself. You build trust in yourself, and that trust feels peaceful. It gives you a clear sense of direction, even when circumstances around you are uncertain. There is also a level of discipline that grows when standards rise. At first, discipline may feel uncomfortable because it interrupts old routines. You might feel tension when choosing a better action instead of an easier one. You might feel resistance when breaking patterns that once felt familiar. But if you stay consistent, this discipline becomes natural. You start to appreciate the feeling of a completed task. You start to enjoy the sense of progress in small steps. You enjoy the rhythm of steady improvement because it brings pride each day. You begin to see yourself as someone capable, someone dependable, someone worth trusting. As time passes, you notice something powerful. Once your standards rise, you cannot go back to your old level. The old habits feel too small. The old excuses sound empty. The old comfort feels boring. Your mind becomes sharper, your reactions become stronger, your purpose becomes clearer. You begin to speak differently. You make decisions faster. You stop hesitating. You stop doubting yourself. You stop delaying important actions. You stop defending behaviors that once held you back. And this doesn't require a dramatic transformation. It requires a steady rise in how you treat yourself. It requires honest conversations with yourself every day. It requires a commitment to follow through even when no one is watching. Standards are personal. They are not built to impress anyone. They are built to shape your life into something you respect. Most people have goals, but goals mean nothing without standards. A person can write down plans all day, but if their standards stay low, their life will not change. A person's income rarely rises above their standards. A person's relationships rarely improve beyond their standards. A person's health rarely strengthens beyond their standards. Life responds to the level you choose. When you increase that level, life follows the change. It will not happen overnight, but it will happen steadily. The person who raises their standards begins to feel proud of themselves in a way that no praise from others can match. They feel stronger when they look in the mirror. They feel steady when challenges appear. They feel calm when others panic. They feel prepared for opportunities that used to intimidate them. This self-respect becomes one of the greatest rewards you can earn. And the only way to earn it is by living with high standards every day. Not once in a while, not only when it's easy. Every day, if you stay true to these standards, your life will rise to meet them. Not because of luck, but because you built yourself into someone capable of achieving more. Every decision, every hour, every choice brings you closer to the life you want. And that life begins the moment you decide your standards are no longer negotiable. Number 2, raising your expectations. A person's life takes on a new shape the moment they choose to expect more from themselves than the world ever expected from them. There is a quiet strength that rises when someone decides they will no longer live on the level that once felt normal. Raising expectations is not about chasing perfection or impressing others. It is about deciding that the next version of your life requires a stronger version of you. When you raise what you expect from yourself, everything around you begins to stretch. Your energy rises. Your attention sharpens. Choices grow more thoughtful. You begin to feel a new pressure inside, like a reminder that you are capable of more than you've shown so far. That pressure isn't heavy. It's a signal that you are stepping into a higher space. Many people live their lives waiting for a sign that it's time to level up. They wait for a perfect day, a perfect situation, or a perfect chance. They wait until they feel ready. What they don't realize is that readiness doesn't arrive first. Expectation arrives first. Readiness grows after you raise your expectations. A person who expects more from themselves moves differently. Their mornings look sharper. Their conversations carry more confidence. They start paying attention to their reactions, their tone, their posture. They care about the details that used to slip by unnoticed because now those details matter. They matter because expectations create direction. Without expectations, a person wanders. With them, a person moves with purpose. There is something deeply emotional about raising your expectations. You begin to recognize the years where you accepted the bare minimum from yourself. You remember the moments when opportunities slipped by because you didn't believe you could handle them. You see the faces of people who doubted you and realize that maybe you agreed with them without saying it. That realization can sting. It can feel like a tightness in your chest, as if you're confronting an old version of yourself that you no longer want to carry. But that emotional discomfort is valuable. It pushes you to decide that your future will not resemble your past. It reminds you that the standard for your life must come from within, not from any outside voice. When you raise your expectations, your mind becomes a different place. Thoughts that once sounded intimidating begin to sound reasonable. Tasks that once felt overwhelming begin to feel manageable. You begin to hear a different internal voice, a voice that pushes you toward action instead of hesitation. You start expecting consistency from yourself. You start expecting honesty from yourself. You start expecting discipline when you feel tired. You start expecting courage when you feel uncertain. These expectations form a new identity, not in a sudden dramatic way, but through steady daily practice. The world responds to people who expect more from themselves. People sense it when someone carries seriousness in their behavior. They can hear it in the way you speak. They can see it in the way you approach your work. They can feel it in the confidence of your presence. High expectations create respect, but more importantly, they create self-respect. And self-respect is something no one can hand you. You earn it through the promises you keep to yourself. The interesting thing about raising expectations is that it changes what you tolerate. You stop entertaining conversations that drain your energy. You stop engaging in habits that rob your future. You stop accepting excuses from yourself because excuses no longer match the level you are aiming for. A person who has raised their expectations becomes more patient in some areas and less patient in others. More patient with growth, but less patient with laziness. more patient with learning but less patient with avoidance, more patient with long-term effort but less patient with wasted time. This shift doesn't need to be announced. It simply shows up in the way you behave. Daily life feels different too. You start waking up with a clearer sense of purpose. You feel more determined, even on days when you're tired. You notice a sharper sense of responsibility for your own progress. You feel more aware of the hours passing and how you use them. Your evenings become moments of reflection instead of distraction. You feel proud of small victories that you used to overlook. These victories accumulate, and as they do, your expectations continue to rise naturally. You begin to separate who you were from who you are becoming. The old tendencies try to pull you back, but they feel weaker now. You recognize the difference between real limits and imagined limits. You start moving toward things that once intimidated you because you trust your ability to grow into them. This is one of the most powerful results of raising expectations. Your future no longer scares you. It challenges you, it interests you, it calls you forward. There is a deep sense of fulfillment that comes with expecting more from yourself. Not because life becomes easier, but because you stop running from responsibility. You start stepping into it with confidence. You start embracing the work required for improvement. You begin to enjoy the effort. You feel a sense of pride building each day, a sense of personal strength. This kind of pride isn't loud. It doesn't shout. It sits quietly inside you, reminding you that you are capable, prepared, and committed. The beautiful thing is that this process never ends. Once you raise your expectations, you see new levels you never noticed before. You begin to understand that potential is not fixed. It grows as your expectations grow. And each new level reveals another one waiting for you. Life becomes a journey of steady improvement instead of a struggle of confusion. You move with clarity instead of hesitation. You act with purpose instead of impulse. And you become someone you trust, someone you respect, someone you can count on. The moment you expect more from yourself is the moment your life begins to rise. Not because life suddenly becomes generous, but because you begin to rise within it. You start showing up stronger, thinking clearer, working smarter, and choosing better. With higher expectations, your actions gain power. Your decisions gain weight, your results gain momentum, your future gains shape. And one day you look back and see how far you've come, not because of luck or talent, but because you expected more and lived in a way that matched those expectations every single day. Number 3, growth becomes real the moment a person decides they will no longer stay the same. There is a certain feeling that rises when you know you are ready to stretch beyond your old patterns. It is not loud, but it is steady. You can feel it in your breathing, in the way your thoughts become clearer, and in the way your priorities shift. Personal growth begins when you decide you are done repeating the same day over and over. It begins when you know there is more life available than the one you have been living, and you are willing to take responsibility for reaching it. A person who takes growth seriously changes the way they live, not in one large step, but in the way they handle each moment. Growth is not about trying to impress anyone. It is not about comparing yourself to others. It is about becoming stronger, wiser, calmer, and more capable. It is about turning your daily decisions into something that supports your future instead of something that keeps you stuck. Many people want change, but they resist growth because growth asks for honesty, effort, and patience. It asks you to look closely at the habits you avoid thinking about. It asks you to notice the conversations you have with yourself when no one else is listening. It asks you to admit when you have been holding yourself back. There is an emotional weight that comes with facing your own patterns. You may think about past years and feel a sense of frustration, knowing you could have done more. You may remember moments when fear controlled your decisions. You may recall goals you abandoned because you didn't believe you could maintain the discipline required. These memories can bring discomfort, but they are important. They remind you that staying the same carries a cost. They remind you that ignoring growth leads to regret, and regret is one of the heaviest feelings a person can carry. That emotional tension becomes fuel when you understand its purpose. It pushes you to take growth seriously. Personal growth changes the way you use your time. You stop spending hours on distractions that leave you feeling empty. You start choosing actions that bring progress, even if the progress is slow. You adjust your evenings so they support your goals instead of draining your energy. You replace unhelpful habits with productive ones, and even though the replacement is uncomfortable at first, you feel proud each time you follow through. Growth shows up in simple choices. It shows up in how you handle your morning routine. It shows up in how you react when someone challenges your patience. It shows up in how you deal with frustration, disappointment, and responsibility. You begin to notice your thoughts in a different way. Instead of letting fear direct your behavior, you question it. Instead of letting doubt stop you, you examine it. You start catching the moments when you talk yourself out of progress, and you choose different words. You choose words that move you forward instead of holding you back. Over time, those new thoughts shape your character. They make you more intentional. They make you more steady. They make you more willing to keep going even when progress feels slow. Growth becomes clearer in the way you handle challenges. A person who avoids growth becomes overwhelmed easily. They break down under small pressure. They lose control when things don't go their way. But a person who embraces growth becomes more patient. They learn how to focus on solutions instead of problems. They learn how to keep moving when life becomes uncomfortable. They learn how to stay calm when things around them feel uncertain. This calmness is not weakness. It is strength developed through experience. It is the result of facing discomfort instead of avoiding it. Growth also influences how you treat people. You begin to speak with more care. You listen more closely. You understand that kindness is not weakness, and firmness is not aggression. You learn how to express your needs without anger and how to protect your boundaries without guilt. You become more thoughtful in your relationships because you understand that the quality of your connections reflects the quality of your personal development. Growth helps you become someone who brings stability instead of stress, clarity instead of confusion, support instead of frustration. As you grow, you begin to see opportunities where you once saw obstacles. You feel a new sense of readiness, the kind that comes from preparation rather than luck. You feel comfortable stepping into new spaces. You feel more confident trying things you once avoided. You no longer panic at the thought of responsibility. Instead, you see it as a chance to prove your strength. Growth changes how you see your future. It becomes something you move toward instead of something you fear. There is also a physical feeling that comes with personal improvement. Your body feels more responsive. Your movements feel more controlled. Your breathing feels deeper. Your energy feels more real. You do not need extreme changes. You only need daily consistency. Growth creates this steady physical strength because your actions begin to match your goals. You no longer drain yourself with regret. You no longer waste energy on things that bring no value. You focus on progress, and your body responds. A person who embraces growth becomes more disciplined. Discipline is not punishment. It is protection. It protects your future from your old habits. It protects your dreams from your weaker moments. It protects your goals from laziness. Discipline, you begin to live in a way that supports the life you want instead of the life you are trying to leave behind. Growth teaches you that your actions shape your identity. When you take consistent action, you begin to trust yourself, and that trust feels powerful. It feels steady. It feels like a foundation you can build a stronger life on. The more you grow, the more you understand that life does not reward wishes. Life rewards effort. Life rewards improvement. Life rewards those who show up each day ready to take responsibility for their path. Growth is the tool that makes all other improvements possible. It strengthens your character. It sharpens your judgment. It increases your resilience. It brings a deeper sense of meaning into your days. The moment you commit to personal growth, your life begins to rise. You feel more confident in your decisions, more patient with your journey, and more connected to your purpose. Growth is not a sudden change. It is a steady climb. It is a quiet commitment. It is a daily choice to become better than you were yesterday. And when you continue making that choice, your life moves forward in ways that once felt impossible. Number 4, the importance of surrounding yourself with excellence. There is a noticeable shift that happens when a person becomes intentional about the company they keep. Life begins to feel clearer, more focused, and more meaningful when you choose to surround yourself with people who push you upward instead of holding you in place. A person's environment is one of the strongest forces shaping their behavior. You can feel this influence in the way your thoughts change around different groups. You can feel it in the conversations you hear, in the attitude you absorb, and in the choices you make after spending time with someone. When the people around you are serious about their own lives, it becomes almost impossible to stay careless with yours. Their discipline influences your discipline. Their ambition fuels your ambition. Their standards raise your standards. Being around excellence does not mean being around perfect people. It means being around people who take their progress seriously. People who look at life with purpose. People who pay attention to their character, their habits, and their direction. When you stand near those kinds of individuals, your mind wakes up. You become more aware of your own behavior. You notice where you're falling short. You feel inspired to match the level of seriousness they bring. This is not competition, it is elevation. When you see others improving themselves, it reminds you that you have the same ability. There is also a strong emotional benefit to being surrounded by excellence. You feel safer expressing your goals around people who believe in progress. You feel understood instead of judged. Feel encouraged instead of criticized. When someone near you has walked through their own growth, they know what it feels like to struggle, to doubt, to begin again. Their presence gives you strength. You feel supported in a way that makes the journey less heavy. Many people underestimate how deeply companionship shapes confidence. But when you have people who push you to be better, the weight of growth feels lighter. The opposite is also true. When you surround yourself with people who blame, complain, and avoid responsibility, your energy drops. You start picking up their habits without realizing it. You start thinking the way they think. You start normalizing behavior that leads nowhere. This happens slowly, almost invisibly. You don't wake up one day suddenly changed. It happens through small comments, small excuses, small influences that pile up over time. Before you know it, your goals fade, your focus weakens, and your potential gets buried. That is why protecting your environment is not optional. It is essential. Choosing excellence also means being selective about where you invest your attention. Not every friendship deserves a front row seat in your life. Some people are better loved from a distance. Some people are better appreciated without allowing their habits to shape yours. This isn't cruelty. It's responsibility. You have one life, and the people closest to you help decide the direction it will take. If the company you keep dismisses growth, disrespects discipline, or avoids improvement, that energy will influence you no matter how strong you think you are. Excellence creates a different atmosphere. You can feel the seriousness in the room. You can hear the difference in their conversations. They don't waste time tearing others down. They don't spend hours drifting through meaningless activities. They speak openly about goals, progress, health, work, leadership, and improvement. They think before they act, they reflect before they react, they treat their time like something valuable. When you spend enough time around people like that, you start doing the same. Their stability builds your stability. Their clarity sharpens your clarity. There is a calm confidence that comes from being around people who expect more from themselves. They don't need to brag. Their actions speak for them. You can learn a great deal simply by watching how they move through the world. Watch the way they work. Watch the way they handle setbacks. Watch the way they stay consistent even when no one is watching. These quiet behaviors teach you lessons you cannot learn from books or speeches. There is something powerful about witnessing discipline in action. It changes you on a deeper level. Being around excellence also teaches you how to communicate better. You learn how to speak with intention. You learn how to listen with attention. You learn how to express your ideas without fear. People committed to growth don't shut down your voice. They respect it, they challenge it, they help refine it. They remind you that your words have weight. Over time, your communication becomes clearer, stronger, and more confident. And then something interesting happens. As you surround yourself with excellence, you begin to attract excellence. People who once seemed out of your league start appearing in your life because your energy matches theirs. You become someone they respect, someone worth talking to, someone worth working with. You notice new opportunities forming in places where nothing used to grow. This is not coincidence. It is alignment. When you raise the quality of your environment, the quality of your opportunities rises with it. You also begin to feel a deeper sense of pride in your direction. You no longer feel alone in your journey. You feel part of a living circle of people who are reaching upward. That motivates you. It shapes your identity. You start thinking of yourself as someone who belongs among achievers, not someone watching from the outside. This shift in identity is powerful. Once you see yourself differently, your behavior changes with it. You start acting like someone capable, someone focused, someone determined. Surrounding yourself with excellence requires courage. It may mean leaving behind friendships that no longer match your path. It may mean stepping into rooms where you feel inexperienced. It may mean being the least knowledgeable person in a group, but that is not something to fear. That is something to value. Being the least experienced in a strong environment brings more growth than being the most experienced in a weak one. Every time you challenge your environment, you challenge your life. The quality of your environment affects the quality of your decisions. The quality of your decisions affects the quality of your future. When you choose excellence around you, you choose excellence within you. And as that excellence grows, your life rises in every direction. Number 5, commitment to change and consistency. Change becomes real the moment a person decides they will no longer negotiate with their old patterns. There is a firm, steady feeling that appears when you commit to a new direction, the kind of feeling that sits deep in your chest and reminds you that you are finally serious about your life. Commitment is not excitement. It is not a sudden burst of motivation. It is the decision to stay with your goals long after the excitement disappears. Many people want change, but very few stay consistent enough to earn it. Real results come from the person who continues even on the days when the work feels slow, the progress feels quiet, and the reward feels far away. That willingness to stay steady is what reshapes a life. Consistency does not ask for perfection. It asks for honesty. It asks for follow-through. It asks for daily effort, even if that effort is small. When someone commits to change, they accept that the process will challenge their patience. They accept that progress will sometimes feel invisible. They accept that habits take time to replace. They accept that growth requires repetition, not once, not twice, but over and over until the new behavior becomes natural. This level of commitment creates confidence, not the loud kind, but a calm internal trust that builds every time you keep your word to yourself. There is a point in every journey where you begin to see the difference between wishing and committing. Wishing feels comfortable, wishing feels light, wishing does not demand anything from you. Commitment asks you to step into discomfort. It asks you to show up when you are tired. It asks you to stay focused when distractions surround you. It asks you to take ownership of every choice you make. This responsibility might feel heavy at first, but over time it becomes a source of strength. You begin to appreciate the feeling of discipline. You begin to respect the structure you build for yourself. You start to understand that consistency creates freedom because it gives you control over your direction. People often forget that change is made of simple actions repeated many times. You drink more water each day. You use your time wisely. You practice better communication. You manage your emotions with more awareness. You keep your environment clean. You choose healthier habits. These actions look small on their own, but together they form a new lifestyle. What feels difficult in the beginning becomes natural through repetition. And once it feels natural, you reach a level of strength you didn't know you had. Commitment also changes the way you handle setbacks. When you are not committed, setbacks feel like the end. They stop your momentum, they break your confidence. But when you are committed, setbacks become part of the process. You do not lose your direction when life becomes difficult. You adjust your actions, but you do not abandon your goal. This calm resilience is what separates those who succeed from those who remain stuck. A committed person does not demand easy days. They demand progress. They demand consistency. They demand effort, even when the day is not in their favor. There is an emotional depth that comes with consistency. You begin to feel stronger inside. You begin to notice that your mind is more stable. You stop reacting without thought. You start responding with clarity. You feel more grounded because you know you are moving forward every day, even if the world cannot see it yet. This quiet confidence grows each time you follow through. It becomes easier to trust yourself because you have proof that you take your progress seriously. Commitment also creates predictability in your behavior. You become someone who can be counted on, not just by others, but by yourself. You no longer break promises to yourself. You no longer say one thing and do another. You no longer live with regret from unfinished goals. A powerful part of change is recognizing that your life will not shift through sudden dramatic events. It will shift through repeated actions. Even when the routine becomes boring or tiring, consistency holds your direction. You may not feel motivated every day, but commitment does not require motivation. It requires responsibility. It requires intention. It requires the understanding that each day matters. Not some days, not most days, every day. When you live with this level of seriousness, progress becomes unavoidable. The life you want is not built by luck or by waiting. It is built by the standards you set and the choices you make every single day. When you refuse to settle, when you demand more from yourself, your life begins to shift in ways you never imagined. Change starts with one decision: to live at a higher standard, to act with purpose, and to stay consistent no matter what. Keep raising your expectations, keep improving, and keep moving forward. The moment you commit, everything changes. Your life will follow.